The California City Police Department is actively looking for the parents of this little boy you see here on your screen. Cal City Police say he was found walking in the 9100 block of Heather Avenue in Cal City. Police have no information on this young boy or his parents. Anyone with information, call Cal City PD at 760-373-8606.
Bruno Ferreira Beats.
Welcome and all American Cartel members, Anons, Facebook friends, Twitter followers, random YouTube viewer. Thanks for joining me. My name is Julio Hawkes and I am the Theorizing Theorist. And today we're going to be going over the California City Boys. I think they go by the name of Orson and Orrin or something to that effect. The West Boys, I guess their name is. Now somebody messaged me and asked me to cover this case, and I asked them for some basic information on this case, and I started to do some digging, and the stuff that I found really, being the theorizing theorist that I am, I was able to come up with a very valid theory, in my opinion. I hope y'all don't think this is reaching too much, but this is going to be my way of kind of digging into this case and seeing what else pops up in the process. So when I began to dig into this case, I started by just basically Googling Cal City and seeing what the deal was with California City. Now, if you don't know me, I've played with theories involving the Illuminati and underground bunkers and child abductions and all that stuff. Now, if you don't know, 600,000 kids go missing every year. It's actually 800 and some odd thousand, but 200,000 are kidnapped by their family or relatives and are generally returned within a few hours to days. But the remaining 600,000 are never seen again. Now that's 600,000 children each year in the United States alone that go missing. Now that was a statistic from 2014 maybe, or 15, but either way. California City, officially the City of California City, and formally abbreviated to Cal City, is a city incorporated in 1965, located in the northern Antelope Valley in Kern City. I'm debating on whether I should even tell you the theory or see if you guys don't just see it as easily as I saw it in the comments section. Please comment down below. Let me know if you guys see it. I think I'm going to go that route with this video. So very interesting stuff. I already gave you guys kind of enough info in the beginning of this to kind of lead you to where I think my brain is going, where I'm going with this, where my brain is kind of going with it. So in 1958, he bought 82,000 acres of land, about 125 square miles in the Mojave Desert, and dreamed of transforming it into a thriving city composed of neighborhoods for medicine, commerce, industry, and academia. Now I'm sure it continues into some other long-filled nonsense, but that's not really what caught my eye. So if you don't know, it's an abandoned city. Not only is it an abandoned city, it is the largest. So California City is the largest abandoned city in America. After a misleading advertising campaign, Mendelssohn was flooded with lawsuits and the land was sold to a mining company with ambitions in real estate. Oh, ambitions in real estate. Whatever happened with them ambitions? I'm sure we did some mining, didn't we? So with that said, we're going to check out a little bit more information on this kid that was just found wandering about, and I want you guys to ask yourself where he was found and where he came from.
Guys, it's Emma. Currently laid in bed with a hot water bottle on my back because I'm in so much pain, but I had to give you this update. So, a little boy has been found, as you can see the photo above, wandering the streets on the 9100 block of Heather Avenue in California City. Police are trying to find his parents and work out where he has come from so that they can try and figure out why he is just wandering around with no adults. Where are his parents? Surely, guys, if you had a missing child, you would know about it. I know I would. I mean, I know it's easy to go to these field events or cookouts, you know, where there's lots of children maybe and you're all having a good day. But, you know, if you're any sort of parent, you're going to be keeping an eye on your kids. Even if they are playing with friends, you're going to know where they are, or you're going to at least keep looking over to see where they are and make sure they're okay. This boy also looks very dirty. And I know kids get dirty, but he does look extremely dirty. He's got a dirty face. And looking at his head, I can't work out if those are 3 bruises or if they are possible burns. That's what burns tend to look like. They're not always red. After a couple of days, they can start to fade from red. And I'm just wondering if he's had his head against something. Possibly some bars. I'm not quite sure. Who knows the scenario? Can't speculate too much other than what we obviously can see, which are 3 marks on his head and the fact that he's a little bit on the grubby side. He also looks very thin. So we are still trying to work out who he belongs to. The police are on it at the moment as we speak, hoping that they've given him some food, and hopefully we'll get some more information soon. Put a comment in the comment section, guys. I'd be interested to know what you think. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.
So that was from Crime Stories Obsession or Obsessed. Please be sure to go over there and subscribe maybe, and comment down below, let her know an All-American Cartel LLC sent you. While I have your attention in that regards, please be sure to subscribe, like, share, follow, and all that good stuff. And if you're so inclined to donate to my channel, please check the description down below. There's a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Alright, so I'm sure you guys are following along. My cartel members, you cartel members are really good at this. So next we're gonna watch a interview with the sheriff or something like that, or the captain of Cal City, and somebody interviews him about 4 months ago. I think this was posted, and he gives up a lot of information, but it's not up to date. So I needed to kind of get, you know, a background beginning, kind of get a feel for the beginning of what happened. So that's just what I was doing. But so what I'm going to ask you cartel members to do, if you're so knowledgeable, if you know anything about this case, please comment down below any dates, any information, any little tidbits. If you want to email me, an allamericancartelllc@gmail.com is my email. But yeah, I'm just looking for information right now, trying to just gather some data, brainstorm a little bit with y'all in the comment section below. So please do that. And with that, I'll leave you with the interview. And as always, to God be the glory.
All right, Chief Walker, I really appreciate you sitting down with me. It's about a month now since 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Orrin West have gone missing.
That's correct.
What is the morale right now in the community?
The morale in the community, the feeling is, I can feel it every day that it's becoming more and more frustrated, I believe, because they want to find the kids, and I get that. But the morale amongst my department is pretty much the same. You know, we want answers, we want to find the kids, and we're working just as hard as we can to make that happen.
And just to be clear, I understand there's multiple agencies involved. Are all those agencies still involved? Can you name them for me?
Right now, the most participation now is between us, Bakersfield PD, Kern County DA. We still are in with the FBI. So those are probably the 4 main ones right now.
And through the course of the last month, you and I have spoken several times, every morning, every night.
At least.
Right. And I always check to see if there's any updates.
Right.
Now that we are a month out and I have the luxury of having you in front of me, I'd like to know, I want to just basically run through a lot of the questions I've asked before in case anything has changed, and also some new questions that I've drawn up here.
Sure.
So there seems to be a bit of a discrepancy of when the kids were reported missing. So when you guys responded to the parents' home, the adoptive parents' home, Trezell and Jacqueline West, when did they tell you they noticed the kids go missing?
The timeline that we received from them is the kids have been gone 15 to 20 minutes prior to them making the call to us. So they noticed the kids gone, they searched the house, they searched the immediate area, and I believe Trezell actually got in his car and went searching in his car, came back, and when they came to the realization they needed help, they called us.
So you're saying from the moment they noticed that Orson and Orrin West go missing, they told you that it was within 15 to 20 minutes of that time that they called police?
Per their statement, that's correct.
What time exactly did police get a call for service?
The call got dispatched at 17:43, which would be 5:43 p.m. in the evening.
Okay.
On Monday, the 21st of December.
So you're saying that's when it was dispatched. When did the call come in? Just a few minutes prior to dispatch?
Yeah, it only took minutes once the call came in to dispatch the call out, and we were on scene within 6 minutes.
Okay, so that would be police arriving by 5:50ish.
At least, yeah.
Okay. We spoke in the past about where police start with investigations like this, missing children's. Tell me about the nature of that.
Commonly, particularly with children, you always want to search from the inside out. You know, many times parents panic and believe their kids, ran out the door and ran down the street, which could be, but my training experience, you start from the inside out, always. So that's what occurred. My officers started from the inside. They searched the house, they searched the yards, they searched the shed in the back, and then they started to widen their search out into the neighborhood.
Got it. And from my understanding, it was the very next day that there was a search warrant executed at the home.
Correct.
There needs to be probable cause for a search warrant to be granted by a judge. What was that probable cause to go in there with a search warrant?
Well, particularly when small kids are involved, we have the right to go in and search. So just for the protection of the kids, to make sure that there's no foul play or the kids aren't somewhere inside the house.
Okay. What items were collected the first time of the search warrant?
Numerous items were collected that first time through. So I'm not going to disclose exactly what we took, but mostly basic items. Mostly electronic items.
What kind of items?
Mostly electronic.
Phones,
computers. Yeah.
Okay.
iPads.
Has that since been returned to the parents?
Some of it. Okay. Some of it, to the best of my knowledge. I know for sure they've received their phones back.
Okay. Was their car at one point towed from their home?
Yes. Excuse me. I apologize.
No worries.
Yes.
Okay. Was luminol used on the vehicle?
Yes.
What does luminol detect?
I don't know how to put that in layman's terms.
What is it typically used for, luminol?
Generally blood, to the best of my knowledge.
Was there any sign of that in the van?
No.
Okay. In the initial search of the home, there were scent dogs used, correct?
Correct.
What was the purpose of that?
To locate the children. If they pick up the scent of the kids in the house, once they get the scent of the kids in the house, then they like us, start to widen their search. But the dogs never picked up any scent outside the house.
Can you put that in terms of why that is important to know, that there was no scent of the kids outside of the home?
It doesn't necessarily mean anything in particular, but it does lead us to believe that, the kids did not wander outside of the house. But once again, that's not necessarily, 100%. But the dogs didn't detect any scents outside the house.
These dogs are fully trained for this, correct?
Correct.
There was no extreme weather patterns that day that we know of. There wasn't extreme wind like there is now.
No.
Did you guys find that a bit alarming or of interest?
Of course.
Now, scent dogs are trained to do a particular thing. Unless they're dual trained, they're trained to do one specific thing, pick a scent, and find where it's gone. Was there any other dogs used in the home?
Yes, we had a cadaver dog come in as well.
And what are cadaver dogs trained to do?
Find dead bodies. So, none found.
They didn't detect anything at all?
No.
Okay. How many additional times has law enforcement gone into the home?
Since the first day, we've been in there at least 4 times that I know of.
And what items were collected during those times?
Once again, several other items that we believe could be of evidentiary value.
And those are obviously items that you are unable to disclose at this time.
Correct.
Okay. You mentioned particular attention to the backyard in our previous conversations.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of work has been done in the backyard?
That backyard has been completely excavated by an FBI forensic team. We found some, piles of dirt back there. So just to be sure, we actually dug them up.
Sure of what?
Sure that there wasn't anything in the backyard that, could lead us to the kids.
Or being sure that the kids weren't in the backyard.
Correct.
You mentioned that you go from the inside out. You expanded to the neighborhood. Initially, you guys spoke to all the neighbors in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Did they mention any sightings of the boys?
Once they went missing?
Yes.
No.
And I recall at the time we spoke, you said that there was no sighting of the boys ever since they were there in September.
Originally, the neighbors we did contact said that they had no knowledge there were kids in the house, but since then we have had neighbors come forward and say that they did have knowledge that there were children staying in the house.
So neighbors had knowledge there was children in the home, but there was never a positive ID of Orrin or Orson, right?
No. Or any of the kids for that matter.
So none of the kids have ever been positively ID'd, but there has been neighbors that told you, hey, we were aware that there were children in the home.
That is a correct statement.
Okay. Now I've asked you this before, but where was the last positive ID, hence the last time Orrin and Orson were seen?
To the best of our knowledge?
Yes.
The day that they went missing.
From the parents?
From the parents.
Now, you guys go into the neighborhood to see if anybody else has seen the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about anyone other than the adoptive parents. Was there a last positive ID of Orrin and Orson West anywhere other than California City?
Probably in Bakersfield with the grandmother.
Okay, so then the grandmother confirmed a specific date where
Yes.
she saw the kids last.
Yes.
When was that?
I'm not going to disclose that.
Okay. Has there been anybody other than family that has positively ID'd, hence seen Orrin and Orson West in Bakersfield?
I would have to review the notes, but yes.
A yes, that there has been someone other than family that
Yes.
has seen the two kids.
Yes.
Positively ID'd them.
Yes.
Can you disclose that date?
No.
And for people who watch this and wonder, hey, why can't they disclose that? What is the reasoning?
Because those are significant dates, and we don't want people to start speculating, well, again, with the rumors, well, they saw him on this date, but they didn't see him on that date, so this must mean this is what happened, and that's not true. So we want to keep those dates close to the vest and those people as well.
Yeah, and I should also mention that, in the media, we're very careful with the way we portray things. We also have to be very mindful of our questions. We have
Sure,
to be,
and I appreciate that.
Very mindful of not alleging anything ourselves.
Right.
But if a third party looks at this investigation so far, you mentioned scent dogs going to the home, the cadaver dog, digging up the backyard to make sure the kids weren't buried there.
Correct.
Questioning the parents. That has happened, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. It leads me to ask, it leads me first to say, it's not a surprise or a secret that there is a focus in one part of the investigation on the parents, correct?
Of course.
So with that, I've asked you this before, has there been any suspect or suspects named in this case so far?
No.
Any persons of interest at this point?
Of course.
Who?
I can't disclose that.
Okay. Person or persons of interest?
I won't disclose that either.
Okay. Has anyone been arrested since the day these kids went missing?
In conjunction with this case, no. No one.
Okay. Anyone detained since the first day these kids went missing?
No.
Okay, so you earlier mentioned that you guys questioned the parents.
Yes.
Is questioning synonymous with interrogating?
No.
What's the difference?
An interrogation, well, again, you're splitting hairs. An interrogation is, you know, I want to know this and I want to know from you and I believe you know this information. Where this is more of, it's informative for us. Where did you see them last? You know, what were they wearing? Where were you that day? Is there any possible way they could have done this? Is there any possible way they could have done that? It's a total different dynamic. But again, you're splitting your hairs. Interrogation, you know, questioning. Can they be synonymous? Sure.
And it's important to note that the adoptive parents, according to what you've told me in the past, they've been more than willing to come in anytime you guys have requested, correct?
Yes, they've come in multiple times, actually.
More than what, a handful, 5 times, 6 times?
3 times that I know for sure.
Okay. And
Here.
The nature of all those have just been questioning?
Yeah, follow-up questions. You know, like, okay, we didn't ask this last time. We're still trying to find your kids. What about these people? What about this? Were you with them here? Were you with them there? We're just trying to narrow the scope of our investigation as well, hopefully with their cooperation.
Okay. Now, let's step back from this case for a second. From your experience, how many years have you had in law enforcement?
Just passing 30.
Okay, so a lot of experience, right?
A lot of experience.
Seen a lot of things.
Yes.
Worked a lot of cases.
Yes.
Okay. Well, with all that experience, are lie detector tests a useful investigative tool?
Yes, but they're not admissible in court. But are they a good tool? Sure.
Does law enforcement in California have the ability to request a lie detector test from anyone in any case?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's completely voluntary.
Here in California City, have you guys ever asked someone to take a lie detector test for
Yes,
a case?
of course. Yes.
And what kind of cases are those where a lie detector test, you go, hey, let's see if we could ask for this?
Types of cases like this.
Okay.
We just want to confirm or deny, you know, the credibility of someone's statement.
Types of cases like this, you say, 2 missing kids, a lot of different factors involved.
A lot.
So it's not a stretch for me to ask, did you guys ask the parents to take a lie detector test?
I'm not going to disclose that.
Not asking if they denied it, just asking if it was...
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yes, you guys asked the parents.
Yes, we did.
And you can't tell me anything after that?
No.
Okay. In our previous conversations, you also mentioned briefly about where the other kids are. Just to confirm, there's 2 biological children of Trezell and Jacqueline West.
Correct.
4 adoptive kids in total. 2 of those were Orrin and Orson West.
The way I understand it, and the way I've been briefed on it, there was two biological children, 2 foster children, and Orrin and Orson were actually adopted. So, and then ranging in ages from 10 all the way down to 3.
Were you guys able to confirm that the day the 2 boys went missing, that the parents' other 4 children were not at the home at the time?
They were not at the home at the time. That is correct.
Where were they?
They were in Bakersfield with the grandmother.
What was the reason for that?
I think it was a holiday visit. That's the way it was explained to me.
Okay. Where are the kids now? The other parents' children, where are they now?
In foster care.
They're not being held by another family member or anything like that?
No. No.
They're all in foster care?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Ever since these kids went missing, Orrin and Orson West, the parents' other 4 children have been in foster care?
Correct.
Why?
Until we can determine what happened to the other 2 kids, and determine, well, then it's up to Children's Services when they want to release the children back to the parents.
So at this point, it's not really in authorities' hands. You guys share information with CPS. They look at the situation, and at this point, they're acting on their own and deciding what happens with the children.
Correct.
So we've reached out to CPS, our newsroom has, and we asked, hey, in what instances are kids taken away from, parental figures? And they said when there is implications, proof that there was neglect or abuse.
Mm-hmm.
In your guys' investigation, was there any proof of that or suspicion of that with the parents' other children?
Oh, I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay. We've also, in previous conversations, spoken about surveillance footage.
Okay.
Obviously, Cal City PD's aware that there's surveillance footage out there, correct?
There's footage off of security cameras from the neighboring homes. That is correct.
Okay. Are you aware of what's been shown in any of the footage?
Yes. I get briefed on that daily. Again, we have hours and hours of that we're reviewing. So yes, but I get briefed.
Okay. And essentially, and we could clear up just in our last conversation, you weren't able to disclose what was in that film.
That is correct.
Okay. And that's all because it's part of the investigation, correct, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not able to comment whether only certain amount of kids were seen in the parents' adoptive home from the surveillance footage in the area.
No, I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay. You're not able to say whether there was a total of 6 or a total of 4 in all the days you guys have seen?
No, because then once again, it's going to cause speculation.
Okay. Let's talk about that for a second. In the media, we always have keyboard warriors. They type in and they're upset about certain things, what we're covering, what we're not covering.
Sure.
I'm sure during this investigation, you've noticed that on the end of law enforcement too.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What things stand out that you'd like to address?
Again, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of belief on what we should be doing, when in fact we're probably already doing that, or places we should be looking where we've probably already looked, and that's okay. People can speculate as long as they know, or I would hope that they believe that we're doing everything we can to locate these kids. I mean, if you've thought of it, we've probably looked there, but that's okay. If you don't think we've looked there, please share that information with us, and we will. A lot of people have called in and gave us clues or tips. We haven't directly gotten back to them, but we have followed up on those clues. So anything that's viable that comes in where we can have a follow-up meaning something specific, a specific location, a specific person, a specific vehicle with a license plate. We can follow up on all that stuff. It's the, well, I think I saw this and I maybe saw that, and I had a dream the other night that this happened. All that's good stuff, and I appreciate it. And again, I would never turn down any help. We're not closed off to anything, but to help us, we need specifics. And if you've never been in this business or been down this road, everyone's going to have speculations of what they feel that we should be doing, and that's okay. They watch a lot of TV, and that's okay too. But I just want to assure everybody that we are doing everything possible to find these kids and bring them home.
You guys were mentioning the amount. You were mentioning the amount of tips you guys are getting. How many would you say you get a day?
A day, 20 or 30 probably, easily. Easy.
Calling in through how?
You calling in mostly. I get a lot of calls in my dispatch. They are calling our anonymous tip line, but my dispatchers have tablets right there. in their dispatch center with all these different clues. And as they come in, they pass them on to me, and then I pass them on to whoever I want to do the follow-up.
And you say that there's, going back to, the attacks you're saying you're getting. When people are saying, hey, look, how can law enforcement not have seen here? How can they have not done that? You're saying you guys probably already are doing this.
Yes.
How much does law enforcement know? How much is law enforcement doing that us in the media or people in the public don't know about, just to make sure that the investigation is not being messed with, not being keeping the integrity of the investigation?
Well, again, we're gathering as much information as we can. We're sharing that information. We're putting that information together to see where this thing or if it will lead us in a certain direction. But again, we can't be closed off. We have to look at this, and if the evidence starts to build over here and the mountain gets higher and higher, we're going to start focusing here more. But if something comes in that leads us another, then we're going to at least check that out and see how that weighs out against this. Does it match up? Does it not? Are we totally in the wrong spot? We could be. But as the information comes in, this mountain keeps building. So we need to, because we don't want to specifically look at one thing or one person, because first of all, that's not fair, and second of all, that means we're not open to the whole investigation. We have to be completely open. But however, we have to continue to follow the leads and clues where they go. And if they keep going, pointing in that same direction, then we're going to keep following that path.
Has that path led you to believe that these kids are dead?
No. I have to remain optimistic and hopeful that that's not true, and that it's going to lead us to where they actually are.
Well, let me ask you. We all want to be hopeful these kids are alive.
Of course.
But has your investigation led you to believe that you say foul play is involved?
I believe so, but that doesn't mean they're dead.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they're dead at all. I'm just saying my portion of the investigation at this point, how did those kids get out of that backyard? It's a big backyard. It's well fenced in. The timeline between the time that the dad said they went missing to the time that we were on scene, how far could they have gone on their own? Which leads me to believe somehow they got removed from that backyard.
Do you question whether they were ever actually in that backyard, given everything you've told me so far?
We have to question everything. Of course.
Do you think the kids, any leads saying that they may have been kidnapped?
I'm not going to comment on that, because I don't want to give you a bad answer, because that's a pretty loaded question. If someone took them out of the backyard, then yeah, that would mean they were kidnapped.
And yeah, you.
But no one's come forward and offered money for their return at all. So, and I believe the reward money is up to $100,000. So, but no one's come forward yet.
Any indication these kids could have been trafficked?
It's always a possibility, yeah. Again, that goes back to semantics. Were they kidnapped? Kidnapping means illegally moving one person from one point to another, whether it's from the front yard to the backyard or from the backyard to wherever. But kidnapping means that they went against their will somewhere they didn't want to go. And if they've taken them there now, and now they're trying to traffic them, so it's kind of one and the same. So it's a possibility. We're open to all that.
There's all these different factors that I'm laying out. And forgive me, I know there's a lot of them that you can't answer.
Correct, and I'm sorry I can't. I'd love to tell you, exactly you're right, and this is what we know, and this is what we're looking at, and this is what we want to do, and we have this specific suspect in mind, and we're going to make an arrest today. I would love to tell you that.
And just to be clear, I appreciate all the information you've shared so far. There's no bad blood here.
No.
Just as a journalist, I just have to ask these.
No, I understand, and I'm trying to be as transparent as I can without, tainting the investigation.
Completely understand, and I respect that fully. You were talking about the mountain of evidence you guys are building that leads you guys to look here.
Right.
Are you speaking in terms of a search, or are you speaking in terms of the nature of why they went missing?
I don't.
You were talking about how, you use resources in a certain areas. So
right.
Look at the mountain of evidence that you guys have somewhere.
Right.
Speaking of that, still, is there any physical evidence that you guys have found that indicates foul play?
Well, again, physical evidence, as far as DNA, as far as bloody clothing, something like that. Is that what you're referring to?
Sure.
I mean, physical evidence could be a security cam. Maybe. No.
Okay. Circumstantial evidence. How much of that do you guys have?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me ask, just in terms of the overall investigation. At the beginning of this conversation, I asked how many agencies are involved. Cal City Police, you guys, how many police officers do you guys have?
We have 13 sworn, including me.
Okay. And how many people each day, because you guys are the lead investigators, are working this case?
Oof. Off and on, at least 3. So that taxes my resources, but that's okay. My guys are working hard, and they don't complain about it at all.
So you have basically 3 rotating,
right,
working this case every single day.
We have somebody touching on it somehow every day.
And just to be clear for those people who hear this interview, doesn't mean there's 3 total personnel working this, right? Is there from BPD and KCSO and FBI?
Oh no, there's a ton of people working on this thing.
Every single day?
Yes, absolutely. And we liaison with them, or I do daily. I reach out to them and we liaison. Okay, what do we got today? This is what we got. Anything new? What are we going to do tomorrow? Which way are we going tomorrow? What else can we get? And every time I get a tip or a clue, I pass it on to them as well. And if they can follow up on it, great.
And as I'm closing up here, I just want to know, have the adoptive parents, Jacqueline and Trezell, have they been asked not to leave California?
Not to my knowledge. We never asked them that.
Are they?
All we asked them is to be available if we need to get a hold of them, and they have been.
Okay. Any other? You guys are lead investigators. You guys share information, as you've been told to me. Has any other authority suggested to Jacqueline or Trezell not to leave California?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Anything I'm not asking? Any last tidbits that you want to leave for anybody who has been following this case?
No, and I say this every time we interview that, we haven't given up. We're still trying. We're still working at this thing actively. So I would hope anybody out there who has anything that can help us, we're more than willing to follow up. And we're still trying.
Got it. Sorry, I'm just getting some more questions here. Silver Saddle Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last search that authorities were involved in, correct?
In Cal City, yes.
Okay. Where else have authorities searched? I know I asked you this before, but in case
multiple locations. We've searched. Well, we had the community come out. We searched almost a 5 square miles around the desert adjacent to their home. We've done personally searches throughout the neighborhood. We went out to Silver Saddle Ranch last week with about 50 personnel. Silver Saddle, the resort area itself, is probably about 20 square miles with an old hotel and banquet rooms, and we searched every single one of those individually, along with Kern County Sheriff Search and Rescue. They came out and searched the whole property on foot. Barns, there's all kinds of recreation rooms out there, little campsites. Searched the whole thing. Took us 3-4 hours and came up empty.
Any indication that this may become a cold case?
Not at this point. I think we still have enough to go on for now. But again, we reevaluate that daily and what are we going to do next. So, but, you know, missings never, they never go away until you find those people. So cold case would mean we put it on a box and put it on a shelf somewhere and we revisit it every once in a while. But even the cold cases I have now, I have someone working on them every day. I have a full-time crime analyst that works on them daily. So I don't see this going away anytime soon, unless we find them.
Right. I'm curious to know why you mentioned at the beginning that the Kern County District Attorney is involved.
Mm-hmm.
Why
That's
are they,
common.
How, in what capacity?
Assisting us because they have investigators. The district attorney, Cindy Zimmer, she's great. She's always very helpful and willing to help us out. She had some personnel that she could spare to help us come down and search, so they do so.
Got it. Okay, so it's more sort of an investigatory thing.
Kind of a mutual aid thing. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
Because they know we don't have the bodies for especially like Silver Saddle. You know, that would have took us days. So, you know, they came down and the more bodies, we were able to search the whole place in 4 hours.
Great. All right, well, Police Chief Walker, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.